Kellyanne Conway, who joins us now. Kellyanne, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Start right there with this series of tweets. Just a matter of taste and judgment and accuracy. Does the president owe the London mayor an apology for tweeting a political attack in the hours after this terrorist incident and also misleadingly quoting him? Was that a mistake?
It wasn't a political attack, Savannah, and as was buried in that report, that one-sided report, here's the other side, that the president stands firm with the people of the UK. He spoke to the Prime Minister of the country, Theresa May, that same night, and again yesterday he announced his support for the UK people. I was in the Ford Gala when he said, we will get these people, bring them to justice. The bloodbaths have to stop.
Fair enough,
and,
Kellyanne, but that was...
But let me finish, because
that was
you want to make
tweet.
This about something other than what it's about. You know, I'm just not going to allow... I'm not going to allow, on the a day and a half after terrorists did it again, whether they're ISIS-inspired or ISIS-directed, they're savage murders. It's an evil slaughter, as the president said last night. I'm going to not let him be seen as the perpetrator here. For every time you said Russia, imagine if you said ISIS. Every time you say Twitter, imagine if you said terrorist.
But Kellyanne,
maybe we'd have a different type of vigilance.
He's setting the agenda. He's the president. He speaks. The reporters cover
and what did he say
says.
to Theresa May? What did he say to Theresa May?
He did say that to Theresa May, but most of his quotes had to do with either his own political concern, the travel ban, of which he's been having 4 more tweets about that this morning, and a misleading attack on London's mayor. So my question to you was simply, does he owe an apology to London's mayor for quoting him in a misleading and inaccurate way?
So we've got the 23rd ISIS-inspired or directed attack, taking innocent lives, children in Manchester, children in Nice, and we want to know, we want to put some blameworthiness here on President Trump. I'm just not going to allow it. Here's what he's doing as President of the United States and as Commander-in-Chief, standing firm, because an attack on London is an attack on American values also. They are our greatest ally, and we stand with them, and we will do whatever it takes to help them moving forward. The State Department, the President, everybody else involved, me now, will express our condolences, and we have expressed that publicly, and he has expressed it privately to Prime Minister May as well.
Kellyanne,
but you know, this obsession with covering everything he says on Twitter and very little of what he does as president.
That's his preferred method of communication with the... Well, he hasn't given an interview in 3 weeks, so lately it has been his preferred method. I do want to talk about the travel ban really quickly, Kellyanne, because it was presented to the American public as an opportunity to figure out what's going on or what's going wrong with immigration in this country. Even though it's held up in the courts right now, what, if anything, is stopping the administration from using this time to look at this travel ban? And if that's happening, when can we expect results?
Well, I believe the Supreme Court is set to take it up, and so we'll get some kind of response there probably within this calendar year.
But couldn't you review while it's working its way through the courts? Couldn't you review immigration security while that's happening?
Well, this is what I'll say about the actual statute. I think people should look at the constitutional authority and the statutory authority for any president, including this one, to take a look at the poor vetting processes, the screening processes. We're talking about 6 countries that have been previously identified by the Obama administration where they either harbor or train and or export terrorists, where people just don't have the right vetting and screening processes in place. And I also want to mention something else. I saw the Telegraph of the UK report just last night that one of these terrorists had 2 neighbors who had reported him to law enforcement. One was a friend of his who said this man had been radicalized by watching YouTube videos and he was concerned about his future behavior. He now killed people. The second neighbor said that this same man was trying to radicalize her children at a playground. I think that's what we should be talking about today, the fact that if you're going to see something and say something, it has to be followed by do something. And this president, through his travel ban, is trying to do something to protect the people of this country. Yeah. And we stand in solidarity with the UK and others who have been victim in Nice, in Brussels, in Paris, I mean in Stockholm. It goes on, and it has to stop. We have to stop looking the other way, folks. We just do. This should be a non-partisan issue with bipartisan solutions.
You'll get agreement at this table on that, Kellyanne. Real quickly, James Comey, the former FBI director, set to testify on Thursday. Real simple question. Does the White House plan to assert executive privilege or any other legal maneuver to prevent this testimony? Or would you say the president would like James Comey to testify?
The president will make that final decision, but if Mr. Comey does testify, we'll be watching with everyone else, Savannah. I would point out two things. Most of Washington, of course, many of the Democrats detested this man until Donald Trump fired him, which Jim Comey said in his own goodbye letter to his colleagues was the right of the president to do. Secondly, Jim Comey, the last time he testified under oath, the FBI had to scurry and correct his testimony almost immediately because what he said was false. So he was off by hundreds of thousands in terms of the emails between Huma Abedin and Anthony Weiner, and there were only 2 classified in there apparently, and he was off by many in terms of the classification.
That is true, but just back to that's true what you just stated. But does the White House consider it a possibility that they would try to prevent the testimony by asserting executive privilege? Is that an open possibility?
Well, the president will make that final decision.
Okay.
But the fact is, if he testifies, we'll all be watching. But I think people should also look at the Rod Rosenstein memo again to see what the problem was in the department with FBI Director Jim Comey. Rosenstein clearly points out that the integrity and the morale were down, and he clearly points out that Comey had tried to usurp the power of the Attorney General Loretta Lynch, and that he did, quote, textbook what you're not supposed to do by holding a press availability and announcing why they decided not to prosecute Hillary Clinton.
Indeed. And more to come on this. Of course, the president supported those actions by Comey at the time. KellyAnne, Conway, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.